In this video, you can crochet along with me as we make one of these adorable Yarn Friend holiday ornaments. In order to follow along with me today, you'll need several colors of yarn, some stuffing, a crochet hook, scissors, stitch marker, a tapestry needle, and a pair of safety eyes. I'm going to start out with a magic ring, so if that technique's unfamiliar to you, go check out that tutorial first. I'm going to chain one and then 6 single crochet in my ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here I'm going to place my stitch marker, which will let me know when I finish my next row. So I'm going to tighten down my magic ring, and now I have my base. For my second round, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each single crochet around. Now I've reached my stitch marker, so I know I'm back to the beginning of my round. And I'm going to double check to make sure I have 12 stitches around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I'm going to move my stitch marker so it'll be there for me at the beginning of the next round. And in my third round, I'm going to single crochet in the first stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the second, and repeat that all the way around. 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets. I've reached my stitch marker. I'm going to check and make sure that I have 18 stitches from that last round. And I do. So I'm going to move on to our next round, where we're going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet in the third. We'll repeat that pattern around. 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and 2 single crochets. I've reached my stitch marker, so now I'm going to check and make sure that I had 24 stitches in my last round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. For this pattern, we're finished increasing. If you wanted to make your yarn friend a little bigger around, you could continue increasing in the pattern we've established. But I'm going to start crocheting straight rounds, just 1 stitch per stitch. And I'm going to do that for 3 rounds, which will give me a pretty plump, almost spherical yarn friend. If you want yours to be a little bit taller, you can do more than 3 rows. If you want it to be shorter, of course, you could do less. And I'm going to go ahead and fade out here and let you crochet your rows in peace, rounds in peace. Turn on some Netflix or listen to some music and come on back to the video when you're ready. Welcome back. I've finished crocheting my 3 rounds of 24 stitches. Hopefully you have too. And now it's time to move on to our decrease rounds. So I'm going to move my stitch marker as usual. And for my first decrease round, I'm going to single crochet in my first 2 stitches, and then single crochet the next 2 stitches together. I'll repeat that pattern around: single crochet, single crochet, single crochet 2 together. Now I've reached the beginning of my round, and I want to make sure I decreased from 24 stitches to 18 stitches. Looks good. I'm going to decrease again. This time I'm going to single crochet and then single crochet 2 together, and repeat that pattern all the way around. Single crochet, single crochet 2 together. Alright, I've made it all the way around. I should have decreased from 18 stitches to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So at this point, my opening is getting a little bit small, and before we go too much further, we should place our eyes and begin stuffing our yarn friend. So take a look at yours and find the face where your stitches look the prettiest to you, and grab your safety eyes. Now if you're using buttons instead of safety eyes, or if you're gonna embroider them with yarn, you obviously don't need to do this step. I think I'm gonna try mine. Maybe here, and a little farther away there. I like this space better. We'll go here and here. Once you have your eyes placed to your satisfaction, go ahead and make it permanent by applying the backs. And safety eyes, for those of you who don't know, are called that because they can't be easily pulled out by little friends and swallowed or choked upon. I think they're also adorable, which is why I tend to prefer them to buttons or embroidery. So now we've got our eyes placed, and before we close up our opening at the top, we also want to do some stuffing. So we're just going to loosely stuff enough of our shape so that we don't have to reach too far in to finish after our next couple rows. So that's probably enough stuffing for now. Now we can continue with our decrease rows. We only have one left. We're going to single crochet 2 together all the way around and decrease from 12 stitches down to 6. Just press your stuffing out of your way. If you catch some on your hook, it's not a big deal. So there's 1, 2, 3. Four, 5, 'and before we reach our marker, we can do 6. And we're done with our stitch marker. So now, before we completely close this up, I'm just going to pull through a long tail so we don't lose it. I'm going to finish stuffing, and you can stuff your yarn friend just as taut or as soft as you like. Pay attention to the shape it's taking on as you go. This is the best chance you have to shape it. Once we close it up, you can just kind of squeeze. And I always find I need a lot more stuffing than I thought I would. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut myself a nice long tail to work with. We're going to use this to sew closed the top of our friend and also make the loop that it hangs from. So I've got my tapestry needle here, and I'm going to thread it with my long tail. And first I'm going to pass that long tail through the last loop left by my single crochets. And now what I like to do is run my tapestry needle through one leg of each of the last stitches in my last round. So I got through 2 of them there. I'll pull through, do 2 more. And do my last 2. Now I can pull this tight, and don't worry too much if you have some areas like this where you can see through to your stuffing. We'll be covering those with our yarn friend's hair. So now I want to tie this off in a way that gives me a nice loop to hang my friend from. I didn't pick a great spot. I'm going to go back. I can promise you somebody watching this video is better at tying off than I am. So when that person sees this, please feel free to leave us some tips in the comments. I'm going to try to choose a place to tie off that's going to help this hang nice and straight. So I think I'm going to try about there. Gauge the length of my loop for hanging. I like that pretty well. And then go ahead and tie it off with some kind of double knotted nonsense. I did not spend enough time in knot school. And once my loop is tied off, I'm just going to take the free end and poke it inside my yarn friend. He won't mind. And back out somewhere else, just so I can draw that end through And then I'll squeeze down the yarn friend, trim the end, and use my crochet hook to poke in any remnants. Okay, so here we are. We've made most of the progress. Now it's time to add some character. We'll start with the hair. I did myself a favor and cut some lengths of my hair yarn ahead of time, so I won't have to spend too much time being my yarn friend's barber, hopefully. So we're going to attach the hair around this last row of crochet stitches. What you need to do is take your hook and pass it under one of your stitches, grab one of your hair strands, hold one end and pull the other end through. And then even them out and tie this off in a nice secure square knot. I do know the square knot. Continue around your top row of stitches, adding hair, and you can do multiple rows of hair if your yarn friend seems to want that. And once you get all your hair strands tied on, you want to decide about the length for your yarn friend, and I like short wild hair for mine, so I'm going to give it a little trim. I'm going to take care not to trim the loop that I'll use to hang it. About there. And when you're done trimming, go ahead and tighten up your knots and unwind the yarn fibers from one another in each strand of your yarn friend's hair. And now your friend should begin to take on some character. We have one more step left, and that is embroidering the mouth. So I'm going to level with you. I usually have to embroider my mouth several times. I feel like the mouth really gives a lot of character to your yarn friend, and it's important to get it just right for the vibe you want this little guy to give off. So I'm going to let the camera roll and let you see my process. I'm just winging it until I like what I have. Okay, I'm getting near the end of my mouth here. I'm pretty happy with the shape. It's always a good sign when I start to make myself laugh by the shape I chose, or with the shape I chose. So all I do to finish these off is take the long tail into the inside of our stuffed ball and bring it back out somewhere far away, and then squeeze down the yarn friend and trim that end. If you are making these for a grown-up, this method should be no problem, because grown-ups don't generally try to pick things apart. If you're giving it to a little kid, then I recommend fastening these ends off a little more securely. But regardless, as long as you leave yourself a nice long tail on the inside, it's easy to repair by just using a tapestry needle to draw it back in if it gets pulled out. That's what we're going to do with our very last tail, which is the one from our magic loop at the very beginning of this project. We'll just pull that guy through to the center. And you're done. There's your cute little yarn friend ornament, all ready for gifting. I'm going to introduce mine to her friend.